Welcome to Impact Masters Podcast in collaboration with Africa's Talking Retold Podcast, where every conversation sparks new insights. Join us as we delve into the stories of extraordinary individuals who are shaping our world, movers and shakers in tech, policymakers, entrepreneurs, entertainers, and all those whose stories are worth telling. Get ready to be inspired, challenged, and transformed. Welcome, and let's embark on this journey of discovery together. Impact Masters Podcast. You can check us out on all social media platforms: YouTube, X, Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it. You can also find us across all podcast channels: Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. Simply search for Impact Masters. Then subscribe, follow, and share. www.impactmasters.io. Here's your host, Michael Kamathi.
Perfect. Welcome to Impact Masters in collaboration with the Africa's Talking Retold Podcast, brought to you by Michael Kamathi. So this is powered by Africa's Talking, and Africa's Talking is powering communication across Africa with simplified access to telco infrastructure, empowering developers to use powerful SMS, USSD, voice, airtime, and chats, plus Insight APIs to bring the solutions to life as we build and sustain scalable businesses. Impact Masters is changing status quo. So today we have an interesting guest. The man himself, Titus, calls himself Titus. Ndeto. Yeah, that's a billionaire entrepreneur, investor, and venture capitalist. He's an open-minded to all ventures, and he considers himself as a privileged billionaire entrepreneur who engages startups, founders, and co-founders who strive to disrupt their respective industries. Ndeto, a founder and student of theoretical physics, econometrics, and philosophy, who draws upon knowledge and principles of reason. He has applied these to finance, business, and manufacturing. He is also delighted to hear about everyone's journey, progress, and success, as well as any experiences that have shaped their perspective. And this is the reason why we're hosting him here today. You know, we bring movers and shakers in tech, entrepreneurship, and any other sector that is moving Africa forward. So welcome today. My name is Michael Kamathi, your host. I'm an entrepreneur. Also, currently, I help build developer communities across Africa. It's a thing that I've been doing for the past decade plus years, and I've met so many interesting people across Africa. I've influenced tech ecosystems across different regions in Africa, and mine is just to see people building solutions that change the lives and trajectory of Africa to set it as an economic powerhouse that it is, utilizing the resources, brilliance, capacity, and the energy that Africa fronts in the world. So today, we have this chief in the house, and he's one chief I've been looking for some time now. He has a wealth of knowledge, and his name is Titus Ndeto. So Titus, without further ado, I would like to know about you beside what I've said about you.
Let me start by the thanks. I rarely introduce myself. It seems like a brag. But now, at least now people know why. Mm-hmm. But for me, for my journey, I started venturing into finance way back in 2018. Mm-hmm. Back then, I was still in high school. I was very, very, very passionate about theoretical physics. That's pure math and pure physics. And I never knew there was another type of world called entrepreneurship or finance or venture capital. I never knew any of these things.
Yeah.
Now, a friend of mine was employed and wanted to quit, but didn't know what exactly or where exactly to start. Reached out to me because in my social group, I'm the math guy. Apparently, everyone thinks I know what to do.
But Ndeto, where did all this start? Is it in high school? Is it in primary school? Were you born with it? So where did all these Ndeto start?
Actually, if way back in primary school, I never performed well in mathematics or physics. Never. I was like the tail end. I was the tail end. But I got into high school and now the spark came automatically. I actually don't know it also came.
You just started understanding math.
In depth.
Okay.
I started recognizing patterns. I started visualizing equations.
Okay.
And got very, very, very interested now in physics.
So which primary school did you go to?
It's called Mary Immaculate. It's a private school.
Where is it?
Bahati.
In Eastlands.
Eastlands.
Nairobi Eastlands.
Eastland.
Okay. And high school?
High school, I partially went to a public school. It's called Kaishanjiru. And then
Where is Kaishanjiru?
Kaishanjiru is, I don't know, like literally it's in Kaishanjiru. Muranga.
Oh, Muranga.
Muranga, and then now Gaishanjiru. Now a place called Gaishanjiru.
Okay.
Now the name of the school is from the location.
Okay, that makes sense. And any vivid memory about primary school? Did you struggle with those subjects or just math?
No, I struggled with math. I was very, very, very interested in geography. That's social studies.
Social studies.
Yeah, I was because that's my best performing subject back in primary school. I struggled with languages, mathematics, and science very, very, very badly. Yeah.
So social studies, you mean
politics, geography, rocks.
Okay,
people.
that was your favorite thing.
Exactly.
Oh, nice.
Now structures. Let's say things with structures. When you are studying geography, you have rocks to study.
Yeah.
Metamorphosis.
Something you can see.
Exactly. I was a very, very visual learner, but I never realized until later on in my
high school.
Exactly.
Okay. So high school at what point? Is it from term 3, when you now realize, oh, math is good, I can do math?
Actually, it was in Form 2.
Form 2,
term 2. I got, we were doing SADs.
Yeah.
I think it's SADs.
Yeah.
I actually understood SADs from an example.
Okay.
And then, to me, that was like a very, very big deal. Because I don't understand much, like literally. And I just looked at the example, followed its structure, and everything got into my head.
And what is SADS, if you break it down to someone who is not familiar with it?
SADS is mathematics of power indices. Now, let's say 2 to power 3 times 2 to power x plus 1 is equals to 4.
Okay.
Now solve for x.
Oh. So you're the guy who really understood the find x.
Exactly. Yeah.
Algebra was your thing.
Now, actually, an interesting part was algebra was a very, very, very big part in my life.
Yeah.
That's when I realized algebra is the language of mathematics. When you're doing advanced level mathematics, you don't use numbers. You use variables.
Yes.
That's algebra. Now, when the switch came to me, my point of realization was I was picking maths. Like, I can read maths without any calculations. I'll do it in my head. Like, literally, I was reading an entire sentence from symbols. And remember, this is a and 844 public high school. They were not doing like that entire type of math.
Yeah.
I got onto YouTube. Veritasium. That was the channel.
This post high school or still in high school?
Still in high school. Still in high school. I got into Veritasium. 3 blue, 1 brown. I got interested in quantum electrodynamics. Also, I got interested in relativistic equations. And the interesting part was I understood all this, like still in Form 2.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, and it's 844. Now
Okay.
you can, like, there's a huge difference.
Yeah.
844, you're just doing numbers.
Yeah.
You study, revise, pass exams, go home, have fun, come back, study, repeat.
Yeah.
There was nothing that interesting.
Okay.
But 3 blue, 1 brown. Yeah, it gave me a lot.
What is that?
It's a YouTube channel.
Okay.
I was mentioning all those were YouTube channels.
I thought it's a math problem or something.
For math problem, the math problem that was a dilemma back then, and it still is, it's called Collard's conjecture. Let me not explain it because I will use at least 3-4 hours.
Is that crazy? Yeah.
It's a millennial equation. Millennial equations ni equations that has not been solved
Okay.
for the past millennia.
Okay.
Century equations for the past century. Decade equation. Evo.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, it's an old. It's almost something. It's completely not almost. It's relatively very, very, very complex, not difficult. Math is rarely difficult. Math is complex. Now, for the Collard's conjecture, I can almost make it compared to, it's called Fermat's last theorem.
Guys, get your notebooks and pen because it's gonna get crazy around here. I hear, different terminologies being thrown around. We need to refer to this in the coming few sessions.
I like even a lot of I switched my life like a leaf. All my friends were astonished. They never expected I'd turn out how I've turned out.
So first term, Form 1, you get an A in math.
So there's C or a C plus. Yeah. Second term, same C plus. Third term, I got a B. First term, Form 2, I got an E. E or a D.
In math?
Yeah, in math.
And at this particular point, you are familiar with quantum physics, you're familiar with the millennium?
Nah, not yet.
Not yet?
Now, term 2.
Term 2 in Form 2?
Yeah, term 2, Form 2, I got... now, Form 2, term 3, I got an A. So literally straight A.
Please, paint a picture like, what is that? Did you sit down and or did you go through a book and you're like, wow, this makes sense all of a sudden?
There was Professor Michio Kaku. He's a doctor, not a professor. Now, he was doing this book which got me really, really curious on science. It was Physics for the Impossible. Is it that book? I don't remember. But basically, he listed classical mechanics. That is where physicists have reached. Newton did this, Paul Dirac did this, Werner Heisenberg did this, Einstein then did this, and then Feynman, there's also a prominent physicist he's called Feynman. Feynman did this, and then now we are here.
So is he doing this in class? Is it a YouTube video? Is it a book?
That is a book.
It's a book. You are reading it and you see the chronological account of different mathematicians.
Exactly. Now where we have reached mathematically to the academic front, it's like a history book for equations. Because he's those type He's a big guy in academia because he was listing out an equation with symbols.
Okay.
Because math and physics, we use Greek symbols.
Okay.
A lot.
Yes.
Now, I didn't know the symbols.
So that was a bit confusing for you for a long time.
Very, very long time. Now I just decided now to sit down and now read the entire Greek.
And understand why are they used and what they mean.
Exactly.
So did you, now reading Greek, were you reading it from the symbol perspective or just to understand how to speak and write Greek?
Nah, symbol.
Okay.
Reading Greek was never interesting because also later on they started using Latin. Now if you wanted to learn how to speak Greek, you'll also learn how to use Latin.
Yeah.
You're getting?
Yeah.
Now it's just all mathematical Greek symbols. I had a sit down with myself and then I looked them up a lot on YouTube. Is a university, by the way. Hey, no cap. I've done a lot of things on YouTube.
Yeah.
Sana on my research when I was getting interested in advanced level mathematics.
Yeah.
I did a lot of things on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then now Google Scholar came along.
Okay.
Now I was going to YouTube. First, I get the paper on Google Scholar. Google Scholar is literally like a database for scientists where
white papers are published there.
Exactly.
Some books are published there.
Or are discovery.
Yeah.
And then now, once I get the paper, I don't understand anything. I stop.
You go and research.
Exactly, the entire thing.
Yeah.
And then now I come back.
Okay.
Because I was not using a curriculum.
Okay.
Like literally.
You're just curious.
Curiosity. Like literally nothing else. I was just curious. Let's say I'd go read the first paragraph. Only the abstract. The abstract will take me like 2-3 days to complete.
Yeah.
Because grammar, shida. Choice of words, alignment of words, shida. Like need.
So grammar was a problem to you or the mathematicians?
The grammar they use, like let's say an example, don't do that.
Okay.
A mathematician will tell you need not do that.
So which one is which?
As in, need not ni version imeomoka of the don't do that. You too, like inamaanisha hivyo.
All right.
I'm a like legal jargon. A lawyer can tell you 2 words with a paragraph. You're getting?
Yeah. Lawyers in the house.
As I no hits by the I'm just it's an analogy.
No, you made your point.
Yeah,
so I'm just trying to emphasize on the point.
Same. Now, also mathematicians use a lot of jargon when it comes to doing proofs.
Okay. But do you think that also is highly contributed with the background of that particular mathematician, as opposed to using because you see, if maybe you learned Greek, like there's a background of Greek and Latin. Even English is made from combination of so many languages. Does it influence how even you like you see right now, if you are explaining something, you'll add a bit of Swahili here, some Sheng. It's just not because you want to be complicated. It's because you want to make a point, and for you it's just obvious. Like if I say this, people will understand more.
I get what you're saying. To some level, your background affects your speech. Always to some level. Because also there was a time I was very, very interested in neurobiology.
Okay.
Now studying circuitry for the brain.
Okay. Why were you studying circuitry for the brain? And at what point? Still in Form 2?
Nah, that was in Form 3. Like completely I'd switched off.
So you just curious, learning anything and everything that is interesting?
I was not even doing my assignment. Like literally I'd go to school with a book the size of a dictionary.
Archimedes principle.
Archimedes is something similar.
Encyclopedia.
Archimedes principle. It's a it's not that difficult. Let's say something like rocket science. Because for rocket science, the main reason why it's that big, it's because there's a lot of factors affecting rocket science. When you're doing speeds above Mach 3, Mach 4, hey, that's
You're defying nature in some way.
Exactly. Anything that defies nature has a lot of mathematics going around.
Yeah.
Now back to your question. For mathematicians, it's actually because I am one. What I think is not the background, because I am fluent in Shakespeare English. It's because of what you're trying to explain.
Okay.
Maybe like let me liken it to a dev.
Okay.
Talking to an agriculture enthusiast. Two completely
Different worlds, yeah.
But they both come together because of tech. You do.
Yeah.
Now try explaining HTML, the difference between HTML and CSS to the farmer. And then you're like, I cannot use my language. Because if I use my language, there is nothing you'll get.
Yeah.
Now same to mathematicians. There's a level of speech mathematicians use between mathematicians and mathematicians.
Yeah.
Mathematicians and physicists. And then mathematicians and engineers.
Yeah.
And then mathematicians and non-academic people. Like also like biology. Neurobiologists use completely different terminology than mathematicians.
Okay.
Also structure of thought is completely different. When you look at it in a thought perspective, how they align their words, it's completely different.
Absolutely. So at this point, I thought the teacher is supposed to break this down for you. They didn't do a good job on that, or? Why?
Because I was young. So that's a faction of my youth. I usually I started because maybe I've not done an assignment. And then now the teacher says, why have you not done an assignment? Because I know. So it's useless for me to do an assignment.
Oh, you used to be that kid?
I was that kid.
So you don't do an assignment because you know the assignment?
For what? Why do I need to do an assignment? Your curriculum tells you to test me. I am telling you, I am already better than your curriculum. You are testing me for what? If I study,
how did that end up? It's very interesting to do.
That one. A few punishments. Some few suspensions because it was repeated. Mothers were present. Parents have had to be involved because I was not listening to teachers, and on the grounds of I understand mathematics better than them. I also bruised their ego because back then I was 16 or 17. Now and then you're like a full-grown man with a family, and then there's a kid here tells you with your 40 years of mathematics experience can teach you mathematics.
But did you do it actually, or it's just a matter of exchange of words?
Exchange. Because if I did it physically, wow, it would have been chaotic.
No, I mean, I had a friend of mine that I keep referring to. He used to solve math in his head. So he has done math, I don't know, a couple of times, or he could really picture the math. Then if you made a mistake in the flow, you'd note.
Out, that one
so
point.
For him, he could not say, I know that. He was my seatmate. He always pointed out like, there's something wrong there. Maybe check it.
Check on that.
You change that, everything flows.
Yeah.
And actually, most of the teachers consulted him with love.
Now,
did you consider that as an option?
I was young.
He was young too.
I was not exposed to that type of communication channel.
Yeah.
Because Mimi, back then, now there's a sense of pride when you're doing academia. Anything complex, there's a sense of pride that comes along.
Yeah.
Now I was young. The pride took.
So you didn't know how to express the knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. And plus, a big problem was I was blunt. I didn't know how to break bad news to people. Anything negative.
Yeah. So let me now ask you, do you think maybe how people learn in school should change?
A lot.
And how would it be better? Should people do homeschooling? Should people
Not even homeschooling. Like the biggest problem even with 844 curriculum is an interested teacher teaching an uninterested child. Now, even now, let's say in uni, can you even in your social group ask do a random survey? How many people actually passed exams because they learned? They passed because of Kenya? They did something illegal? That's why there's a high unprofessionalism rate in Kenya.
So people do not really pass exam because they are learned.
Aye.
There are other factors.
A lot. But now no one is ready for that.
The percentage that passes because they learned, where would you put it?
At maybe, let's say 2%.
2%.
Maybe 1.5.
1.5%. Not even 2%.
2% is a lot. Because the people who, a lot of people my age back then when we were joining campus, even you had ambitions, you wanted to learn this and that. You get to campus, you've been told to do something that's not completely related. And then now the lecture, you ask, campus, most people think they can question. Why do we do this?
Yeah.
Maybe if it's coding.
Yeah.
Why do you use HTML? How did you debug that?
Yeah.
The teacher tells you, now the lecturer, you finish your exams and leave.
I'm not paid enough to explain this.
I didn't say that. Because the topic you're talking about.
What is the excuse? Because some of the guys who taught me are from Yale, others are from Stanford. Others, went to big Ivy League schools, and the approach was different a bit.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely. The problem with Kenya is corruption is very, very, very petty. For you to pass a driving test,
you have to charge some money.
You have to. It is mandatory.
But I guess that has changed for us now for a while. I don't know.
Let's hope so.
It has improved. One thing also, and I need to say the way it is, that corruption is everywhere. It's not just Africa or Kenya.
Yeah.
But in Africa, it's put in a way that it doesn't really even work. Because also I feel like tipping is a form of, depending on if you tip before or after, is a form of streamlining things for you. Because if you've gone to US, actually, tipping is a culture. If you don't tip, you're considered rude. So here in Kenya,
it's a budget.
Buying someone chai, which is considered corruption,
if
it's put well, it could be tipping. Maybe this guy doesn't earn enough. But now the problem is, let me give you the problem where I see it. If you don't bribe someone, they might put you in a very difficult situation, to an extent that it might cost even a life.
Let's use the term forced tipping.
Or forced tipping.
Yeah, you're forcing me to tip you, or I'll use my power against you. Because
now that's pure corruption.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pure.
Yeah.
Because now, if you check, let's say, government offices, passport, at least SAI may change.
Yeah.
But even government itself admitted, you can go 2 years straight without tipping.
Yeah.
Without no first tipping.
Yeah.
2 years straight, you don't get your passport. Let's say you are traveling to India, as a medical tourist.
Yeah.
2 years, you're dead.
Yeah. I mean, and there's a discussion there that, some services, you could have the normal process that if it takes 3 weeks, it takes 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But if you want it for 2 days or 3 days. Maybe you pay a bit higher to be
Fast track.
facilitated. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it should be very pure. That I know if I want to get my passport in 1 day or whatever service it is, it's officially, it is taxed. It's a revenue generating, process.
Yeah.
And it's quite out there. So
if it's public, so long as it's public,
I feel like that would
transparent.
address some of these
A lot.
shenanigans. Yeah.
The problem is internally at the government offices, they will hike.
That tipping.
Exactly.
All right. So Titus,
Yeah.
you are a person who is really interested in the money markets, investment, venture capitalists, startup, founders, CEOs, and you have a lot of curated knowledge around this, helped with your mathematics background and liking.
Yeah.
I think that's the next thing that we should discuss in this conversation.
Yeah, sure.
But ideally, I wanted to know particularly after Form 2, were you able to progress to Form 3, Form 4? How did you perform your KCSE?
Actually, I never did my KCC. I got to a private school. Getting to a private school, I switched from 844 to IG. I become double interested.
Yeah.
After now I'm double interested. Now I talk to my parents. I want to do advanced level mathematics. My dad wanted me to do a medical course. Tried it and it didn't turn out well.
Yeah.
Because I actually realized, other than curiosity, you need strength.
To do medicine.
Where
were you doing this medicine?
I was doing well. KMTC.
They do medicine or clinical officer or what?
Not medicine. Orthopedics.
Orthopedic.
Yeah. I was doing, I don't remember, something related to bone.
Okay.
Now the problem is I have to work with dead people.
What are you doing with the dead people?
And I am an academic. I also asked myself the same question. You teach me here. Why are you taking me to the morgue? How we do a Zoom class?
Okay.
You need you to have direct contact with the situation. I am okay.
Are you afraid of dead people?
I'm not afraid. I just don't like them seeing them on a Monday morning.
No, wait a minute, Chief. This is becoming interesting. What I understand is all medics, maybe the lower medics like nurses and orthopedic and clinic officers, to the doctors and PhD. Most of them learn through dead people so that they can transact them and just see the real that. I mean, go deeper in that person, right? If it's the vein, you're told it's aorta, you're shown the aorta where it comes from.
How it's
this person died because of heart attack. The heart is opened up. You're shown where this clot happened. For
practicality.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And in high school, I remember we used to dissect frogs, right?
Or rats.
Yes, exactly. So why would you have a problem with that way of learning?
No, the problem is, as in, I just don't prefer looking at dead people Monday morning.
But Tuesday morning, you can look at them.
Let's say evening.
In the evening, what is the logic around this?
As in, I didn't have Kwanza. There's a time that I realized I could not do medicine, anything related to medicine, because that's still, I wanted to pivot from bone to neurosurgery. Because I was interested.
KMTC, do they do neurosurgeon?
Nah, I don't know yet.
Of course they don't. That's a specialization. You have to do medicine for 5 years and then you specialize in neurosurgery.
Because as in, you've said, dentists, doctors, nurse, they still learn the entire human body.
For sure, but you see, we wanted to specialize.
Yeah, now.
No?
Yeah, obviously that's a specialization.
Yes.
I wanted to pivot. But now...
That's not pivot. That's specialization. Pivot is where you stop doing this. You can come back.
I wanted to but now it didn't make that sense because you cannot pivot that. You cannot specialize from that far angle. You are learning everything from bone and then now you want to study
Neurosurgery.
It won't.
So wait a minute. There's something you have said there that is very interesting. So nurses also have neurosurgeons, or
No, like no, not to that level, but they still learn the entire human body, human anatomy.
Anatomy.
Everyone learns human anatomy, and then after 5th, 4th year, depending on where you are, sometimes 7. 5th. Mostly it's 5th. Now you'll decide where you'll want to specialize. Either it's dentistry, neurosurgery, cardiology, oncology. Now depending on someone who is learning. But mimi pali nilihit ni there's someone who came with very very bruised. Let's say to a medical practitioner it will be interesting. An interesting case. Yeah. So
dead body.
Nah, not dead. Almost. The guy was snoring, but was unconscious. Now where is the snore coming from? And then now, like the doctors know, the nurse know, like they know where it's coming. Now you're asked. Now this is a great learning opportunity.
I'm interested in the answer that you gave.
I won't give that answer, but it was like completely different from. It's not even a medical answer, but they were saying at it now. Come closer. This is a great learning opportunity. Interesting cases like this don't arise, and then I'm like, we should not expect interesting cases. And then now I'm looking at the guy. The guy is bleeding, snoring, unconscious. Ni boda accident. Me, I'm like, by the way, medicine si lazima. Sister, I am young. I have parents. I can learn something else because actually I did it because of my dad. Not
okay. Not that you're interested in it.
I was, but if it was medicine, I wanted to get into clinical practice.
Okay.
Clinical practice ni getting to the academic part of it. Like if you're doing maybe comp science, you're doing a doctoral in comp science. Now maybe you start doing something to do with philosophy.
Yeah.
You'll shift from actual practice, coding, to like now doing the philosophy of comp science. Same. To medicine, you shift to now being
theoretical.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now you are coming up with not equations, biologists. Some do. I don't. There's a beef in our community. Let's not get into that beef, but let's say some biologists come up with equations. Some come up with cure, a new cure. But now when you're coming up with a new cure, you see you're not treating someone. And you cannot try the new cure on someone. So now that's a lot theoretical. Now, clinical scientist, you're actually now becoming like an actual scientist.
Okay.
Because that was my goal before I went.
So did you do that?
I will do it. Let's say.
Or it's something that is.
Yeah, I got into finance.
Process.
Yeah, I got into finance kibahati mbaya.
Okay. How did you get there? Because that's where actually the main topic is.
The main topic of today. For
So did you leave that school altogether, or?
I didn't leave. I got interested in finance back when I was in Form 3, Form 4. Form 3. Because I did IG. Sasa I didn't graduate pande yenyu. Sasa si pande yenyu, si wewe. Let's say pande 844.
No problem. Yeah, I did KCSE.
Sawa. Let's say it's what? I got interested into how the market moves. Now when you say you've placed an order, what does that mean? Now, like when you've placed an order and then the market goes up, how does it go up? Now, like the opposite of it, it has gone down. Like how exactly has it gone down? Like what is market sentiment? What is fundamental analysis? Because also in economics, you do a lot of sentiment analysis and fundamental analysis.
Yeah.
Now, like I was interested. There's a guy. It's called Abdi. now Abdi was doing econ back then, and then telling me, if you get into econ, I'm sure you'll innovate something. Because back in high school, I was very, very innovative. Like I had a friend. We're still solid. He's called Humphrey. We were trying to build a pyramid. Like literally, like from the resources that the school provided, we were trying to build an actual pyramid, or try to create a model that will resemble the intricacies of pyramids of Egypt. Yeah, they're very, very, very challenging because no one up to date. We still don't know like how exactly because you look at the size of the stones, you look at the level of technology back then, and then like how did they get it up there? Like they were using pulleys in Isawa, but how long is that pulley? How big is that pulley? Because if you look at the size of pyramids, those things make humans look like ants. Now from
there are a couple of theories around that that have been fronted by so many
people,
theoricians and mathematicians. Okay. But ideally, it can be done, and it was done.
Ideally, exactly.
Yes.
That's also my. I live by that.
Yeah. How it was done, no one has established that.
But it was done.
But the evidence is there. So it was done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because if you look at when you're doing numerology, study of now numbers, like there's a lot of correlations. When you're studying the pyramids, there's a lot. Center of something. Center of I don't remember. I don't speak what I don't know, like what I cannot ascertain. Now, for us, what we're trying to do with Humphrey, we are trying to create a model that will equally distribute force to the entire structure. Because we assume inside the pyramid, there is no pillar. Pillars like holding the walls. It's literally a triangular way of arranging stones, big stones. But if you look at weight distribution, it's equal.
Yeah.
How? Well, Egyptians, like, because there's sasa up when the Iso conspiracy theory comes, it was built by Asian aliens. It was built by what? Demonology, that stuff. But I actually don't believe it. It's just that white people.
What do you believe?
For that, white people don't believe black people have that type of IQ. Kwanza, if you've been to States, you might have experienced it. There's a type of superiority. It's called white privilege. Yeah.
That's a huge statement right there.
Yeah,
but let's move away from that because sounds like you're saying what you believe and others believe something else. It becomes a fight of belief which no one wins.
No one,
So, can you briefly explain what a VC term sheet is and its importance in the investment process?
A VC term sheet is an unbinding agreement. The same way you can talk with your friend over dinner, over drinks, over coffee. Talk about, I have this business, we want this much for this much. And this might be your exit strategy. Now the other party becomes interested.
Okay.
How exactly does now someone fund you? And now let's say you've been funded. What will govern the funding?
Okay.
What will govern that relationship? Now the VC term sheet it's, let's say not VC. There's a term sheet. Term sheet is literally an unbinding agreement of discussing how much, who has control over what, when, voting rights.
Yeah.
You're speaking of liquidation preference. You're speaking of some might not be that complex, but now when it's a VC term sheet, because there's a term sheet is a bunch of papers. Now when it's a VC term sheet, most likely it will be very, very detailed.
Yeah.
Now for the term sheet, its importance, it will give a preliminary of the relationship.
Okay.
How you personally, we are speaking business.
As a founder or a CEO?
No, as a founder CEO. Are you willing to accept my terms?
Okay.
Before we sign anything.
Yeah.
Before we sign anything. These are my terms I've laid out on the table. Let's talk about liquidation. Liquidation preference, it's more of when I am giving you money, I will put a clause that will say, I will not give you, I will not take back any amount that is 1x, 2x, 3x my initial investment. So if I've given you, let's say, $10.
Yes.
You'll put a clause as now there are two people, the fund owner and the fund receiver. Fund owner is now the VC,
Yes.
the investor. Fund receiver is now the founder CEO.
Or the company.
Or the company.
Yeah.
Now, fund owner will put a protective, liquidation, it depends how you use it.
Yeah.
It can be used as a protective provision, but industry standard, it's not being used currently.
Okay.
Because a lot of fund owners started using it as a way to hurt financially these these
Founders.
big companies,
Or company or startups.
Startups that have made literal good amount, good returns. Because a liquidation preference will say, I'm giving you $10. I will not accept anything less than $10 when and if I'm selling my shares, I'm selling it to any investor, I'm selling it to the market, I'm selling it back to you.
Yes.
I will only take 10, now 1x. If it's 2x, I'll take $20. Now if you
and most of the time it's not 1x.
mostly it's not 1x.
Yes.
People don't realize it.
So what is the average? Is it 2x, 3x,
Average
4x?
should be 1x. Average should be 1x.
Should be. But what is it?
Because mostly what I've seen, they're doing 2.5. Because imagine you've been funded, let's say $1.3 million. You are returning 2.6.
Yeah.
What will you be left with?
No, I mean, it's a debatable kind of...
Yeah, it's very, very heavily
because at the end of the
debated.
day, before I give you money, there's what you promise me.
Exactly.
I'll get maybe in
Back.
X years, right?
Yeah.
Do you think maybe founders overpromise? Sometimes they are a bit angry and they will just want money. They overlook some of these things. What goes wrong? Because so maybe I'm thinking from both ends. That the investors,
both shoes,
they are business people.
Yeah.
They want to put in money and make money.
More money.
Right?
They want to make more money.
Yes. Are they too also greedy? Right?
Yeah.
Would they maybe be reasonable and say, okay, especially where the developing market, maybe take 1.5. If in the developed market they're taking 2.5, they should maybe in developing market consider to lower that expectation so that it doesn't hurt the founder. Also for the founder, are they overpromising? And then by the time they're liquidating or maybe they raise the next round, they find, this money I'm raising it, but almost all of it I'm giving it back to the first investor or seed investor or, Series A, So please expound, where does it go wrong and how can you do this the right way, even with a VC term sheet?
First of all, when you're funding a startup, it's a lot of guesswork. Like literally, I won't lie, because I've done a lot of financial models. Valuation.
Yeah.
Let's say valuation for startups.
Yeah.
There is different ways to value a startup.
Yeah.
So you can use the VC method, you can use Bacchus method, you can use trading comps, you can use DCF. I'll expound later on those. But the core problem is your financial slide, not you. Because most of these founders, sana in Kenya, are usually non-financial. And even if they are financial, they're not technical. So we have one problem.
Okay.
The team is not matched. There is no founder market fit. Founder market fit is the company you're investing in as an investor. You're asking yourself, do they have the type of talent to manage corporate stuff, to manage financial stuff, to manage product development, to manage marketing stuff, business development, legal stuff? Exactly.
Yeah.
But now you see at this early age, people don't have finances to like bring all these people on board. Now, maybe the perfect combination for now will be one financial, one tech person, one financial person. Now, let's say the problem is the founder is non-financial and a tech person. The founder will rely on estimates from Excel. Like ISO forecasting. Maybe you've made maybe some sales, 3-4 months, you've made some sales. And now you think that will be the rest of your life, even
Yes.
ndio kutaendaga.
How are you able to tell if the future doesn't look like that?
Now, there's a couple of ways you can do sensitivity analysis. You can do whatever.
But now you're not financial, so how do you do that?
Now that's the problem. Now you're not financial. Now you trust your gut. Your gut is telling you.
But how do you do it the right way? Do you hire PwC? Do you KPMG?
Now you can all this you can if it's if you're non-financial. And you don't have the resources. I'm assuming you don't have the resources.
Of course, that's why you're raising the resources. That's the obvious thing. How are you raising funds if you have the funds?
So now let's say you don't have funds, Why have you taken the liberty to like teach yourself this stuff?
So now you have to learn about economics.
If you are not ready to learn about economics, don't start a company.
Oh, that's a big statement, right?
I usually tell portfolio companies, I work with a couple of portfolio companies. I usually tell, I can get you a job. Go do 9-5. Startups have a lot of stress. I cannot advise you.
There's another way to look at it.
Yeah.
Because when the world was created, you can't learn everything.
Obvious.
Right?
Yeah.
Why don't you hire an expert in this? There are people who have done economics. There are people who have done up to PhD.
Yeah.
And they know ins and out of these things.
Yeah.
Especially financial things. Why not hire those guys straight up? Or even give them some equity to be part of the team.
But now, that's that's a good way to bypass a problem. You've only bypassed. You've not solved. You've not solved.
Why? Are these guys gonna screw you up?
No, not even screw. Not even screw. You are their leader now. Cindy, you are their leader. These guys are. You've gotten the perfect team. You've gotten the financial people, and you've gotten people on tech development,
marketing, and all these teams.
You've arranged. So you understand nothing
about these
finance.
things.
Exactly. Let's say you understand maybe 2 of them. You understand marketing. You understand product development. You don't understand legal and financial.
Yes.
Now, the biggest problem is it will cloud your judgment.
Okay.
You might have cash, but you're not liquid. but your financials will say you're liquid. But actually,
What is having cash and what is liquid?
being liquid is being able to purchase anytime, meeting your debt obligations
Okay.
as they are due. So say now to mean immediately.
And when you have cash and not liquid, what does that mean?
You have maybe cash
That you
tied
can't
up.
spend.
Exactly. You have very, very, very good, it's called account receivables. Account receivables, the money coming in,
Yes.
like Netflix. Let's say, Netflix. Netflix, they
Or
are,
Uber.
upon Uber, they are, you pay on the spot. Ama if it's, let's say, Uber corporate. Something that's...
So they have to pay at the end of the month or maybe
Yeah.
mid-month, but you have to
Maybe
pay everyone every week.
Exactly. Sindo.
So that means the money that is coming in from other guys,
Yeah.
which is not much maybe,
Yeah.
assuming,
Yeah,
you have to pay now this corporate and then wait for the corporate.
exactly.
I see. And now that
But you're
means...
not
also-
liquid. Remember,
Okay.
you're not liquid.
Okay.
You're depending. You're depending, like it's this water.
Yeah.
Now let's use an example that will create a visual image. You are waiting on tree, like a fruit, let's say avocado. You're waiting for an avocado to ripe for you to sell it. But if you have a customer now,
That means you don't make that money.
you will not make that money.
I get you.
You're getting?
Yes.
There are petty stuff when it comes to financials.
Okay.
Now, this comes when now you start doing them. But when you're in school, you learn them uko kwa advanced level. That's why I prefer learning as you go. When you get the perfect team, let's say you have the tech person. You have... now you're non-tech. You're non-tech and you have financial persons. This, let's say technical jargon, hauelewi. Let's say development. Because development is something that's considerably highly abused. I saw you did once a website
Yeah.
for 1 month.
Yeah.
And then now you're telling me you'll do the same, something that looks the same to my eyes
Yeah.
in 3 months.
Yeah.
You are screwing me. You want more money. But now you remember this looks the same, but one is a web app, one is a website.
So you are saying it's very important for any founder to understand two things, especially if you're in tech, understand finance.
How will you make
If you're in
money from
agri-tech,
it? Yeah,
you need to understand agriculture,
And-
technology, and finance.
exactly. If you're starting any company, you know kuna the passions, the burning emotions you have, ABCD. Yeah, that's very, very, very good.
Yeah.
But remember, even if you bring me on board, I am not eating your passion. My wife, I need to...
You need to pay rent, you need to pay school fee, you need
Food.
to take your girlfriend out.
Kwanza siku hizi wasichana wanakuwa expensive.
Yeah.
Like that's... Sasa and then you're telling me that I have passion.
Yeah.
My girlfriend is yapping there, needs makeup, and then I'm looking at you like...
But why do you take a girlfriend with yapping? But you'll talk about that. So what does a fully diluted post-money option pool mean in the context of a VC term sheet?
Fully diluted option pool. Fully
Post-money.
Post-money.
Yeah.
Let's break those words because that's a sentence. Let's start with post-money. There's two things. There's pre-money and there's post-money valuation.
Yeah.
If you have a pre-money valuation, that's, let's say, you're doing, let's do a one-on-one.
I'm the VC, you're the founder. Or I'm the founder, you're the VC.
So whichever works. Now, let's say you have a company. You are looking for a financial person to do your valuation.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Now, for financial, you ask, you umeulizwa, what's your pre-money valuation? You come to me. I give you the math. I say your pre-money valuation is 1.25 million. Average nachezea gapo.
Pre-money, that means I've not given
Money
as a VC.
As a VC yet.
I've come in, I'm interested.
Like
So I've asked, where are you right now?
Exactly, as we speak.
Yes, you say 1.25 million USD.
USD, that's where startups range.
Yeah.
950
to 1.25.
to 1.25. Maybe when you have like let's say APC.
Yes.
It's APC ni advanced purchase commitment.
Okay.
Let's say you have a novel product, and then you have people interested who are on the wait list to buy your product.
Especially in hardware.
Now you see you have already sales.
Some commitment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have commitment. What you're lacking is money to fulfill commitment.
Okay.
Now you can give me money to fulfill this commitment, and then now we'll talk about investing. Badai. But you as an investor, you say, if they've gotten these people, they can get more.
They're serious people, yeah.
Yes, no.
Yeah.
Now you stick around. You say, what's your pre-money valuation? You're not the financial person. You have a financial person.
Yeah.
Come to me.
Yeah.
Yo, nimeulizwa what's my what's my pre-money valuation?
Yeah.
Ambia, for now, say 2.5.
Yeah.
Why? Yes, iko juu sana.
That's a financial person advising you.
Yeah.
So they are telling you to balloon where you are.
Exactly.
So that you get even more.
Exactly. And then now you ask,
why are we doing this?
Why? Kwa nini si iko juu sana? Na we will back it with APC, the contracts that we have. Once they become purchasing client, risk is equal lowered. Remember, in finance, there is two things. Risk, time value of money. $1 now is worth more than $1 tomorrow. Risk, return. The more you risk, the more you return. Now, in this current situation, you have APCs. Now you're asking me why. Why are we backing them against APCs? And then I'm telling you, look, there is risk and returns. The investor is risking this much for this much. But remember, these APCs are de-risking the company. Now the investor, even if akipeana pesa, will be risking less, but for more. So you come, you've got.
I hear you. Yeah.
So now the risk.
But would they give you more than what you are making, or do they tend to give you less? Or?
For valuation, it depends. Now that totally depends on your negotiation skills.
Yeah.
They can give you more, depending on how you negotiate. Because now I've backed my argument with an actual fact.
Okay.
And I've told the investor, you're getting bigger piece of my company for less risk. Now, alternatively, you do with another startup, for the same risk, you'll not be sure of return. Now here, I'm guaranteeing 20 to 40%, your money is back. That's leverage.
Okay.
Now, once the investor hears, now I'm interested. How you know these things, sawa tupambane.
And they have a panel of negotiators.
Exactly.
And a math guy like Titus.
Yeah.
Who is willing to do all the math to make sure that they get a big piece of the company.
Exactly. Now, what they come to argue is, what clause do you have? Remember, you cannot share any confidential information memoranda. It's called CIM. A bulk of companies' documents that are confidential. Sasa zikiwa zote, instead of confidential information ama confidential document, inakuwa yote memoranda.
Yeah.
Now sasa the customer list, strategy.
You cannot share, or you have to share?
You cannot share.
With who?
You cannot share with the investor.
Okay.
If there is no letter of intent. Now, letter of intent comes later on, but it comes on later on in like higher stages of funding. Remember, for
higher stages means that the discussion is close for you to receive the fund, or?
For higher, there is stages of funding. There is pre-seed. Pre-seed, you're looking for money to create a company, to validate the idea. You have an idea, you have a prototype, you're looking for, let's say, $250K to $500K for validation.
USD or
USD. Okay. Everything I'm saying, it's USD.
Okay.
Sasa, you are looking for, let's say, $250 to $500K for validation.
Yeah.
Then you've gotten it. You're going now.
And at this point, you don't give any equity.
at this point, you give roughly, depending on how good your negotiation is and how you've funded the funding round, a funding cycle, you give roughly 7.5 to 15%. Depends on you.
Okay.
And also your budget, your internal company stuff.
Yeah.
Now you've gotten higher. Now, let's say you are looking for seed round.
Yeah.
Seed round is you have a product, you have a market. You want to service the market.
Yeah.
Now you're looking for money to sell more of what you have. You get it.
Yeah.
And then now you go to, let's say, Series A, the next round. Series A, you are looking for money to scale. Kumbuka, kuna difference between growth and scale. Scale is increasing clients without increasing CAC. CAC ni customer acquisition cost. You are increasing, let's say, getting an imaginary number.
Yeah.
Getting a client costs 80, let's say $20.
Yes.
You need do ya marketing, do ya labda meeting, logistic ya the salesperson, na labda mshahara ya salesperson. Distribute equally, sindio? For the entire month. And it costs $20. Now, your customer acquisition cost, it's at $20. Now, for you to scale, you need to increase number of clients without increasing
the number of CAC.
Hapo ndio shida iko. More clients,
more expenditure.
Yeah. That's why consulting
So
firms,
that is not always accounted when people are talking about how they will grow the business.
that's also
It's not
another
in that number of like these we need this
X amount
because of this expenditure.
Exactly.
Why is it not accounted for if it's well known?
Now you know how to put it into the conversation.
Or the way you shape it.
Exactly. Everything in funding, everything in investor negotiations. That's why there was a time I was very, very poor at negotiations.
You?
Totally. I was very, very... you have to start somewhere. And you'll not start at point A.
Yes.
You'll start at somewhere at 0, 1, 2, 3. You're getting? But what I realized is, depending on how you structure your deal, that's everything.
Yeah.
You can get funded over the counter. It's called over the counter. Over the counter, I have portfolio companies who have been funded over the counter. They call me. Investor amesema ABCD. Tell them ABCD. Akasema ABCD. Tell them ABCD.
So is this on a call? Is it
on a call? Like literally on a call.
Yeah.
Ama WhatsApp text.
Okay.
Wakaulizwa like investor amesema ABCD. Yeah, mwambie ABCD. Investor na change tone. Anasema hi, mwambie amesema ABCD. You reply ABCD. Because at negotiations, remember, you cannot make a good deal with a bad person.
So a bad person will always remain a bad person.
Don't try to sugarcoat hapa sijui nini. I'm blunt.
So there are also bad investors.
100%.
And bad VCs.
100% wako.
Is that what Africans have been getting, or African companies? Not even African, because I know of companies that have closed. That are not, Do you think
for VC, for funding, evil is everywhere. Let's say that. Evil is in healthcare. Evil is in government. Evil also is in investment.
And all of those guys are looking for funding.
Exactly.
In one way or the other.
One way or the other. Okay. And now, like, there is another firm. It's called Khosla Ventures. I listen a lot to Khosla, now the founder. It's a very, very big PE fund. The PE fund ni private equity.
Yeah.
Private equity, it's investing in mature businesses, taking it to the next level. Let's say you are making 10 to 50 million AAR. AAR ni annual recurring revenue. You are doing 50 to 100 AAR. And you are thinking, how can I convert these to like 300, 500, like other big companies. Now that's where you involve the PE fund. The PE fund will come in with the funding, they will come in with the strategies, they'll come in with the resources and the talent to like actually get your business to the next level. Once the business...
Wait a minute, what do you thought? Because I've also seen a couple of companies where there is funds, and then, the people who actually give the money, they bring also the executives. They bring, all these people. Is that good or bad?
Depends.
With what?
The people coming in. PE funds can bring in executive. Let's say, when PE funds invest in your company, starting ni 20 to 50 million USD and upwards.
Yeah.
So this is
and that's not acquisition, it's just funding.
It's funding. Yeah. That's not acquisition. Depends also. There are PE funds who, like the biggest PE fund, KKR. Hey, that guy is no joke, bana. That guy once had a bid for like 1.4 billion back then in 90s. So that's roughly 15 to 16 billion.
Trying to invest in a company?
Acquisition.
Okay, acquisition, okay.
And that was more of a hostile takeover. PE funds, when they come, they bring in their people.
Okay.
Depends on what is their agenda. And if you were able to get their agenda earlier on, a PE fund can bring in their people to kill
the company.
Incumbent management, not the company. Incumbent management. To take over. So, politely to take over. When they take over, they fire people, change operations, shift the revenue, like literally everything. They change a lot of things. You're getting?
Yeah.
Once they've done that, they make sure the company is at its climax. They sell.
Very nice. So, we talked about post-money option pool. So what is, this fully diluted post-money option pool?
An option pool, let's start with the option pool. Option pool is a way to motivate the starting team by allocating a certain percentage to them, like 100%.
So it's equity.
Equity.
Yeah.
But it's not direct equity. Yeah. It's an option.
So you can sell later or
hold.
Okay.
But I will not give you an expiry period.
So as long as you're the company, or even if you leave and you have met all the conditions,
vesting. They are called vesting.
Yeah.
They have to vest. I'll give you 250,000 shares, options, not shares, options. I'll give you 250,000 options for 4 years. After 4 years, you as the owner, you will decide, do I sell? Maybe double the investment. I'm a hold and wait for more investment. Kutendaje?
True.
Unaona? Now that's an option pool. A fully diluted option pool, everyone has vested. You're getting?
Yeah.
Everyone now is...
Including the founder, no?
The founder has equity.
Okay.
Option pool, it's literally, instead of me giving you Mark, I'm giving you an almost near alternative to Mark.
Okay.
Because in finance, principles remain the same.
Okay.
We just change maybe one thing. It becomes totally different.
Yeah.
Unaona, options na equity haijachana mbali sana. But option ni like literally a contract to give the owner the option to either hold or sell the underlying asset.
Yeah.
Underlying asset sasa ni equity of the company. You're getting?
Yeah.
Kama, let me give you a more clear example. In finance, kuna hizo, isn't it, derivatives. From the word derivatives, you are deriving a product, a financial product, from the underlying asset. If it's option, if it's equity, you are giving an option of of equity.
Okay.
Underlying is the equity. You can give an option for different things.
Okay.
Commodities. You can give, sasa commodities ni gold, oil, rice.
Yeah.
Depends.
Oh, okay. Nice. So how does this impact startup valuation?
For fully diluted, they will have to. Depends. Sasa wanaweza come in and they'll need to allocate more shares. You're getting?
Yeah.
When you're allocating more shares, that means also wewe pia utakuwa affected. You as the investor.
Because that does not exist for investment. Because it's a pool that's set aside.
Yeah, that's not my business.
Yeah.
Nyinyi ndio mnasaidiana. Mimi siwasaidi. I'm coming in to give you more money.
For what exists.
What exists. And then tomorrow, I get more money. But now, you will use my money to allocate more to your founding team. That's why a lot of VCs and investors want the option pool before they invest. Sijui kama mwona hapo.
Yeah.
But there are some cheeky founders always.
Yeah.
They'll say imefanywa lakini they've not finalized the paperwork.
Yeah.
But you finalize the paperwork on funding.
Wacha nikunywe maji. And that happens a lot.
It happens ni venye a lot of corporate litigation don't reach court. A lot of people in finance want to settle out of court. Arbitration, mediation, negotiation.
Okay. So let's give a shout out to our sponsors and who have made this podcast possible.
Quick pause, folks. We're stepping into a brief interlude, but stay tuned because after the break, we dive deeper into the incredible journey of our guest. Meanwhile, we'd like to send a massive shout out to our sponsors for empowering this exchange of ideas and innovation. We'll be right back on Impact Masters. Subscribe, follow, and share. Check us out at www.impactmasters.io. See you after the break.
Welcome back. This is a quite interesting conversation. Shout out to Africa Stocking, and you can find Africa Stocking at africastocking.com for powering this conversation. Africa Stocking provides telco APIs on voice, SMS, USSD, Insight Chats API for developers to build scalable businesses across the world. Africa Stocking is available in 23 markets, and the solution works in over 54 countries and beyond. And one of the key aspects of Africa Stocking is empowering developers across Africa. Impact Masters is changing the status quo through Impact Masters podcasts, which is found in all the podcast channels in the world, including iHeartRadio. And if you listen to us, you want to support us, let us know. If you want us to host your guest who is a mover and shaker in the tech ecosystem, also let us know. We'll make that possible. Today we are hosting Titus Ndeto, Ndungu. Yeah, I don't know which is which, but he has so many names. But also he has a wealth of knowledge, and he's sharing with us around startup, raising money, his life in high school, in primary school. He's a curious gentleman, and you can hear even in his story. If you've not listened to the previous recording, just go there, start from the word go, and you get all this and understand who he is as a person, as well as the wealth of knowledge that he has. So we're talking about the valuation, post, pre, and as well as, option pool. Some of these that actually when a startup is coming up, especially tech, they don't really focus more on what that means. They just want to build a product, especially for techies. Does the code run? Does it have 0 bugs? Am I able to send a text? Am I able to solve a delivery or ERP solution for different businesses. And then when they raise funds, they realize, oh, we gave the whole company to someone and the intention is all clear. Or maybe my employees are not motivated well enough. I need an expert who needs to be paid X. So it's quite a mushy water to trend in. But some of this knowledge you're sharing actually gives some details into how do I prepare myself financially. And even if I'm consulting a financial person, I'm able to actually articulate this person who will come in to give me this wealth of knowledge. There's been also rumors where, finance people collude for the highest bidder to take over the company. There's also what you talked about, AR or the guys who bring the people. KKR who bring in the people, they take over the company. So there's a lot that goes on.
Before we continue,
yes.
KKR do not bring in bad people. You don't want attacks or online.
I did not say they bring bad people, but they bring people with intention, clear intention. And most of those intentions are always favorable to the founder
exactly.
and the company.
That's a good way of putting
it's favorable to them. Either they're planning to take over or acquire the company or grow that company to an extent that it creates value and sell it in
both
a high
for the
value.
founder and themselves.
Yes, exactly. And it's good for everyone. It's just that it hurts the intention of the company. There are companies that are not started to just make billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Maybe they make billions of dollars, but this $1 billion is quite distributed to create wealth in different communities across the world, and not to be concentrated on one point. But of course, the investor want to make billions. Maybe that's the intention. They want to make more money to invest in more companies. And for them, actually, they're looking at it from the point of, if I have more billions, I invest in another 50 companies.
I'll make more
I've
billions.
impacted the same communities you're trying to impact, and it takes shorter time. So there's always that disconnect. But of course, at this point, we are looking at how do we, knowledge is power. How do we bring this into light, and how these processes interlude with each other, and so on and so forth. So these are series of conversations. And we want to cover a lot of things around this because everyone is complaining, everyone is frustrated, but no one actually sits down and asks, wow, where do we start talking about these things? And this is the place. Welcome back. So right now, Titus, I want us to venture more into pre-money versus post-money valuation. As you said, most founders are not finance gurus to figure this out. So what is the difference between the pre-money and post-money valuation?
Pre-money and post-money, the biggest difference if the investor has put in money or not.
Okay.
Let's say, let's get back to our example.
Yeah.
You have the company. You're a finance guy. You come, you ask me, investor ameniambia this much.
Yeah.
What is the pre-money valuation? What do I answer? I tell them. I tell you, go and tell them 1.25 million.
Yeah.
And then, Rudy, now what will be your post-money valuation? And then, kwambia, that depends. What am I saying? Now, for post-money, it depends largely on the money coming in.
Okay.
If it's 1 million, post-money will be 1 million plus 1.25 million. So it will be 2.25 million.
Yeah.
If it's 10 million, it will be 11.25 million, depending on now the investment.
So pre-money is assets, money you're making, the value that you're creating, the promise, the pre-orders, all that brought together. It might be liquid or not liquid.
Not liquid, yeah.
But that's the
still
valuation
an asset,
pre.
Still an asset.
It's a pre-money that exists before the investment. Post money valuation is plus now the investment.
Okay.
Now, what is crucial for founders to understand the inclusion of the option pool in these valuations?
For option pools, inclusion is not on the founder's side, but mostly it's the main point of option pools being included comes from the funder, the fund owner now.
Yeah.
For maybe the important aspect of the option pool for the startup founder will be a way of financially motivating the early employees that took the risk with them.
Yeah.
Because maybe they weren't being paid that good. They were taking long hours for short pay. Some used their own money, stuff like that. You're getting. But now the option pool, once it's set aside, it will hurt the equity budget. Equity budget is the budget you are spending on getting funding.
Okay.
If you're looking for funding at seed level, your equity budget should be roughly 10 to 15%.
Yeah.
For roughly seed 75,000 to how much? 75 to 100k at seed level.
Yeah.
That's a good amount starting from there. Now, when you do the option pool before the funds, you will get 7.5 million.
Yeah.
It will be there.
Yeah.
But now, when you do after, a piece of that 7.5 million will be affected because you will set aside the option pool at post money valuation, but the investor is investing at pre money valuation.
Yeah.
You're getting.
Yeah.
Now you will take a piece of the funds, the percentage the investor had to give to the employees. Now most investors are not that generous when it comes to equity, because equity, there are ways. There are ways. Most founders think equity is control. Depending on this structure of the organization, that's not always the case.
Yeah.
You can have majority stake
and you're not in control.
Exactly.
Yeah. Depending on the percentage, or what determines that?
Clause.
Okay. What is clause?
What do you put in the contract? What did you put in the company bylaws?
Now that's where the legal comes into play, or?
Yeah. It's called technical. Technical. A legal technicality.
Okay. So do you need to go and study law as a founder? Or do you need to hire a good lawyer?
You need to understand it. Just read enough. Read business law.
Yeah.
It's what I'm avoiding is once you've hired a good lawyer, you still do not understand legal technicalities.
But you trust they will guard your interests.
Yeah. Till when?
Until you stop paying them.
Or when the funding round is roughly 100 million. That's how much in Kenyan shillings. That's more than 12 billion.
Yeah.
I know, 13 billion, Sasa.
Yeah.
It's 130.
Yeah.
Now you are paying me 7 million per month. These guys want to give me 1 billion. Bro, I love you. But siate utanielewa.
So it goes to the side of the investor.
Yeah, these guys come with float. They come loaded. Heavily loaded.
So like how much does that guy pay you? We'll double, triple it.
Even
we want
10x.
this contract to favor us.
10x. The people
How often does that happen?
Depends on interested parties. The company has to have something that will entice or attract that type of group.
Yeah.
Unaona?
Yeah.
Let's say maybe you're creating the next Google. But you as the founder, you don't know the revenue model, the business aspect of it. You know, that's the problem. Most tech founders don't understand, not all, most tech founders don't understand the money part of their company. Remember, you cannot entrust these positions to everyone. Always. Because now, like, the financial technicality, being cash at bank, not cash at bank, being high on account receivables, but low on liquidity. Account receivables need the money you're being paid at the end of the month. Let's say you have 10 million of it.
Yeah.
You have a contract now. You cannot fulfill it. Because everything is on your OPEX.
Can you take a loan?
You can take a loan against account receivable.
But it will be expensive.
At what interest?
Yeah.
In loans, we use, it's called what? WACC. Weighted average cost of capital. How much, how expensive is your loan at? That is everything. You can take a loan at 2-3%. That's okay. Now, if you're given the retail rate at 14% of 100 million, that's quite a lot.
Yeah. So how does including 15% option pool in the pre-money valuation affect the equity stake of the founders? Or what is the right percentage to really include for option pool?
The average option pool is at 10-20.
Okay. So 15% is,
median.
Yeah.
Now, for 10 to 20, let's say for 20, you are in love with your employees. Because now you have at least a lot of flexibility.
Okay.
But for 15, you are not that in love with employees. Because remember, you as the founder at Series A, you should be owning 40%. That's the average.
Okay.
Because a lot of guys call me to clean up their cap table. Cap table ni capitalization table. Who owns what when?
So whatever at Series A you own 30%, is that really bad?
Almost. It's nearing bad. Because the dilution level there, it's roughly pretty good because you might own less than 15.
But here we are considering maybe we have one founder. What if we have 2 or 3 founders?
Yeah.
How possible is it for one founder to own 40%? Or is it a combination of all?
If you're solid, if you're good friends, if you have the good work ethic, you can. I've said if you can own as joint. If
all founders should be able to have 40%.
All founders, that will be easier and it will loosen the belt.
Okay.
You're getting because remember everything is at 100%. You have 40%.
Already you took away 15%.
15% plus 40.
Yeah.
55. You have
so the company still has.
Yeah, you have now roughly 45.
Yeah.
You have one investor at 10, 35. You have maybe what else? Let's say 35 remaining.
Pre-seed, maybe 7.5 gone.
7.5 gone. That's how much? 20 ngapi?
Call it 10.
Let's call it 10. Now when you at Series A, you are being funded roughly 5 to 20 million for most likely 15%. So that will mean you'll have to eat your investors. Ama you'll have to eat your people, ama you'll have to eat yourself.
Mostly yourself.
What are you remaining with?
Or any angry, person who is feeling like, I want to cash out.
I want to cash out.
Yeah.
That's the best.
So everyone has to lose at some point.
Now that's the problem. At some point in companies, you have to take sacrifices. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Now the sacrifice should not be that big to kill you. Don't take a sacrifice that you cannot handle. You're getting. Now let's say at Series A, they've come in, they've given 20% for 10 million. Now everything now starts to a small amount makes considerable change.
Yeah.
A small percentage.
Yeah.
Now, assume you own, let's say, what? if you had 10, let's say you own 7% at this amount.
Yeah.
You own 7% of your company.
Yeah.
How easy of you to lose it?
It's very easy because there's no control there.
There is no control.
Other people have control of
Over you.
Over you. Yeah.
That's the issue.
That's a 93% worth of control.
That's a big, very, very big. That's even you. Don't consider. You're just
an
money.
employee.
Yeah, you're an employee.
Yeah.
I don't.
So you mean that could even happen at Series B if you are not careful?
Yeah, if you're not careful, because I usually advise my portfolio companies.
Yeah.
Clean up kwanza your cap table.
Yeah.
Buy out as much people as possible before you get.
What does that mean?
Buyout is you have a lot of dead investors. You had an investor, you could pay 200,000, that's 2K USD.
You buy it back.
Buy it back. Mpe 5,000, aende. You have another investor.
But they have to accept it though. And you're assuming that people will take their 5K for 200,000.
Not necessarily. They don't have to accept.
So what do? Do you hamstring them or?
Kuna ways.
Please, indulge me.
Kuna ways of forcing a buyout.
One way is?
I don't want to seem like an evil person, but maybe for you to force a buyout with an investor is to offer a premium. Offer a premium is if they invested 2,000 USD, give them 10,000. For them to refuse, they'll have to substantially decline the offer with reason.
So here you're suggesting that if someone give X, you can
Double
it or triple it,
yeah.
just to make it enticing.
Now you'll have.
But the intention is to buy it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not because you love him, mama. It was the intention is to lose dead weight.
Okay.
You'll have a lot of dead investors. Your mom.
Yeah.
Your mom invested.
Yeah.
Your bro invested. What value are they bring the company? Because also that's a thing. I insist. Look for an investor in the same area as you.
Because they will bring even knowledge, connections, network.
If even anyone is bringing industry participants on the table,
that's huge value.
Huge value. Kwanza when you're young, huge value.
How young can you be young?
Young, let's say you're making less than 10 million.
Yeah.
That's 100,000.
Oh, here we're talking young money-wise, not the age.
Money-wise, yeah, not age. I know for age, I don't mind about the age at all.
Yeah.
If you have the people behind you.
Yes.
Who are
that's what matters. Oh, interesting. So, you talked about negotiation that a founder should have to be able to get more from the investor. So what strategies can founders use to negotiate a higher pre-money valuation that doesn't include the option pool? Because now option pool is one that attracts the dead weight.
Yeah, the dead weight,
Yeah.
Labda, maybe you do make the negotiation inclusive. Instead of making the investor feel I'm giving money and then I'm stepping aside. Also, like, ask the investor to, rarely will they accept. Ask the investor to take up an advisory role. Rarely, because the investor you're targeting also has different companies.
So that should be one of the offering. If you don't take this, we lower down that option.
It depends. Yeah. It depends. Because taking up an advisory role depends on the investor. Because let's say you have an investor who's, let's say you're in medtech and you have an investor in medtech. That should be a
huge value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That should be a bargaining chip. Because they'll bring in people. It will be easier for you to get into those doors via him than via yourself.
Yeah.
Unaona. Plus now you're in medtech. Credibility.
Okay. If this guy has invested in this,
exactly,
must be very important.
Exactly.
That's
Just take the advisory role. Advisory role, there are roles kwa board. No matter how small it is. It does not change. There
do
are,
you get paid to be on the board?
obviously, because you are not coming to the meetings for free.
So you mean there is like seating allowance,
Yeah, sitting allowance, yeah.
good
it depends.
food,
Obviously, boards lazima zikuwe na good food. Any board meeting,
some giveaways,
hizo lazima expect.
but there's no salary
Rarely.
mostly.
Rarely, yeah. There is, if the advisory role, it's very, very interactive. Let's say you have an advisory role on legal.
Okay.
Now unamwengage sana.
Okay. It depends with the time consumed in the role.
Role, yes.
Okay. So any other negotiation skill that you can, share?
Know who you are negotiating against.
Okay. So do background search.
Yeah.
Due
Don't fear.
diligence.
Yeah, do not fear investors.
Yeah.
Because they are giving you money.
Yeah.
Most people are desperate.
Okay.
Kwanza
With money.
They will speak. They will speak in a very, very, very ambitious voice. I do not care. Akuje, put in, aende. Let the guy sit at that table. And then the investor proposes to call off the deal of a petty thing. The deal value is roughly 15 million USD.
15 million is petty.
Investors usually call off the deal over petty reasons.
Okay. Not the 15 million.
Not the 15 million. This investor doesn't want to give you this.
They want to give lower.
So now they are looking for reasons.
Like which petty issues that investors will bring on the table?
Team.
You're too tall, you're too short.
That's very, very petty.
No, you said the petty thing. So I was thinking the pettiest of the petty.
For petty, I'm meaning financially petty.
Okay.
Let's say you don't have an accountant.
Okay.
And then they start arguing, you'll not manage money
Properly.
Kwani, the other rounds, who did it?
Okay. What if maybe this is your Series A?
Series A is usually mostly Series A ni priced round. A priced round ni like, there are more than 3 different people.
Okay.
You have an investor there. The investor will come with a team. You will come with your team.
Okay.
Let's say you're meeting 2 people.
Okay.
But in actual sense, there are 15 people like in the boardroom.
Yes.
He's giving you, let's say, 100 million Kenya shillings. Yeah, you will have to pay for it.
Yeah.
You will have to. Because they will check everything, even your friends. Investors are very, very shrewd. For you to become an investor, most likely.
So do they even hire FBI, CIA, private investigators, pay people around you to tell them?
They will, let's say, let me give a case study in the European market. European market, a lot of people follow. Not a lot. People must follow the rules. Now, a good background check will yield everything. Crime records, school records, health records, offenses, court records.
And do you disclose it openly, or do they do the investigation, or do they require you to disclose?
They will ask, like legally.
Okay.
They have
provide
to ask.
this.
Yeah.
That's why most people don't go to raise in Europe. I see.
For Europe, Europe it's a tough market. They will give. How can I?
Yeah.
But they will do their background checks.
Yeah.
They legally have to ask.
But okay, we'll discuss this somewhere else. But that begs me to ask: how did London surpass Silicon Valley? Or is it because of Brexit? Now they don't have to abide by the European Union rules.
To some point,
Yeah.
I might say the very, very laws you're putting in place to protect you we are also a danger to you. Because if you look at, let's say, food laws in European market, they are only buying only organic.
Purely,
yeah. So now what happens if you don't? Now, will your country starve to death?
I have no idea. You grow organic
Till when?
until
Growth.
you have
remember,
surplus.
until you have. Now that's why most likely there might be a deficit
Always.
on balance of trade. They're importing more than they're exporting because of the laws they've put in place.
So in Europe, you can only consume or sell them organic food.
Depends. Depends on the region, Pia. You know, Europe is very, very big. Europe, it's a conglomeration of countries. Let's say it's a place like Quintiria, Netherlands. Netherlands rarely take foods with fertilizer. Literally,
Even
when you're importing, when you're
Netherlands,
exporting to them, within Netherlands they can.
they can grow it and take it because they have control.
They have control over what they plant.
The chemicals, yeah.
No. Now, let's say
What about Kenya? I'm curious. Kenya imports?
Kenya,
Any guidelines there?
let's hope they are.
Yeah.
I
You have
have
not heard of any?
stringent
Okay.
guidelines. Have not.
Okay. Do you think they
Kenya-
would be good for us?
Very.
Okay.
Because now look at China.
Yeah.
China was once the fake country. Everything fake. China.
Yeah.
Look at the laws they have.
So you start gradually. You just
Somewhere
open up, but with
Somewhere,
time you
yeah.
tighten the
ropes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because for China, what they did, I have a friend who exports to China.
What does he export?
Fresh produce.
Okay.
So that's vegetables, fruits, apples, avocado, different types, mangoes, what else? Sweet corn. No, it depends.
And this is very interesting because in the couple of coming series, we'll talk about, because it's kind of investment where you grow products,
Yeah.
you add some value
And
by
then
packaging or washing, and finding a good market.
Yeah.
And you export out value-added goods as
yeah.
a way of business. Because, most people think now with the tech boom,
Everything
is tech, which is
Yeah,
not
not
the case.
really,
Because
yeah,
people
not
will always eat, people always party, people always use clothes. There are so many other markets that are not tapped. And you're exporting or importing most of those things, even within Africa.
Yeah, even
So
within Africa.
we'll get there and talk about all these opportunities that exist.
On export.
Yes,
there are
yes,
lots.
yes,
There
yes.
are
Even within Africa, actually.
Yeah, even with
Yeah.
because Kama, that guy, I was doing his numbers. He sells $7.95 per fruit.
That's huge margin.
That's 10x the margin.
Yeah. Even
Because
when you remove or subtract
everything,
the logistics.
because the margin rarely is less than 15x.
Oh, nice.
Rarely.
Yeah.
So maybe you're doing bad management. Because a lot of guys.
This begs me to ask, how did Twiga fail? Okay, I don't know if it failed, but why is it struggling to really make the difference? But this is not your discussion for today.
Let me. I like this discussion.
You're private to it, eh? This chief has analyzed all the companies that actually have failed, at least in Kenya or in Africa.
For you not to repeat it.
And actually has analyzed how the process was. That's why I like this. But let's go into the details and then we'll go to specifics.
Later on.
Yes.
For Twiga, there was interested parties. Interested parties ni people who want to eat the company.
Foreigners, investors,
Let's
founders.
not mention up. But you just know they were interested parties.
Okay.
People who want to eat the company. The company should benefit you.
As an individual.
As an individual. Sindio, hatukatai. You as also an employee, also a stakeholder. Even if it's indirect employment.
But they could have created the value and then eventually they will still eat if they want to eat.
We in Kenya.
Okay, what does that mean?
In Kenya, you will raise using Western philosophy and theories. They are not applicable in Kenya. Have you ordered Twiga? You personally? But utaenda kwa mamboga wako.
Let me correct that analogy.
Yeah.
I buy it. I know them for bananas, right? Green bananas.
Yeah.
if there was a clear way, like the way you order at Carrefour or Naivas, and an app where I could say, okay, bring me 2 sort of bananas. Maybe if I buy it in Kisii, it's like 200. Maybe you sell me the whole thing. I don't know how it's called. Those
bunch.
Not even bunch. The bunch are attached to that.
Oh, the
whole thing. You know, in Kisii, when we travel, we get it by 200 shillings. You'll get a good banana. The whole thing.
Yeah.
So if they do it like 400, and I can order it with an app and maybe pay 50 bob for transport, I'll be their first customers. But maybe it didn't look like I'm the target customers.
No, they like before even I lose that same analogy. You've said at 400, 50 for transport. Where are you getting this for half the price?
Kisii.
Kenyans are very, very unique people. Their habits put you in business. I'm going to put you out of business.
Okay.
They are
generally Africans, even not Kenyans.
Yeah, that's right.
But let's be specific about Kenyans.
Let's be people I have interacted with. I'm sure there are guys, even you, in your social group, they prefer buying bananas when they travel. Because, you know, the problem with Kenya, need businesses, they are not solving a problem. They are feeling a need. Need businesses don't usually sell for long. They sell, but not for long. How many fake Jack Daniels ziko Kenya?
I don't know.
So, let's say a lot. Because there's that I had a case of it. They say a lot. There were people manufacturing fake JD. There were people manufacturing fake Mac accessories.
MacBook, you mean?
Accessories, not the Mac. You know the Mac, for you to fake it, you'll have to use a lot of cash. Because there's a lot going on.
You mean like the mouse, the wires, the chargers and everything?
Yeah, you get it. Also, like, I've ever bought a fake cable. The Type-C one.
Yes.
A fake cable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's say Louis Vuitton publicly announced they've not hit
stuff.
They've not hit Kenyan market. Your friends have LV clothes.
But there are guys who go to Dubai and buy some of them.
Yeah, guys. You like this.
Are very few of them, yeah.
Exactly. But kwa market. I got you there. I got you there.
You'll talk more about that in another session.
Same thing. Same to trigger. Yeah. No, let's.
No, I knew if we go that route, it will just take us off the rails. So, any other strategy for a founder when they're negotiating?
Speech. Be articulate. Be also financial savvy. No terms before you get into the meeting. No terms.
Yeah.
Because investors, like, there are people also. Yeah. People like to shorten stuff. They're not shortening it because they want to screw you off. They're just like CAC. The investor might not like want to prefer customer acquisition costs like 10 times. Just say CAC. None. Maybe what else? Negotiation. Be articulate. Do not do not answer questions you don't know or you're not sure of. It will bite you in the back. 2-3 years, 4 years later, you will have established. Investor relationships are like marriages.
Yeah.
One party does something wrong. Ataiweka kando. Use it.
In future.
Use it in future. Unaona. Sasa now that's the problem. You're getting into a marriage with, let's say, this man, this woman, whatever they identify as. And then, I'm keen. I don't want backlash, but
I see you're very inclusive.
Yeah, you have to. Now, you have these guys coming into the company, and you switch talk to them with lies.
Yeah.
the lies usually run out. They start asking. Now, since we're together, see, you just tell me, what was your valuation? You, because you think you are very, very good, solid people, you say, that's a legal issue. You lied. You have admitted to the opposing party, opposing counsel. You have admitted you lied. Let's say you do petty stuff like switching clients.
Okay.
Exaggerating APC. APC a lot nowadays linatumika because for pilots, when you do a pilot, let's say of a software, mostly inakuwaga free. But you're expecting the one you're targeting, the pilot, they convert to the client. Now you can have the APC, your advanced purchase commitment.
Can you repeat what APC stands for again?
Advanced purchase commitment.
Okay.
Now it's just basically
commitment.
With
or you are
bonus.
Just trying out the market.
Now you're not trying. You for a client, for you to sign APC with the client has to know what I'm signing. Now it has to be
so they either pay some percentage or they pay in full or discounted. The point I am signing the APC is you will discount this software for this long by this much. Okay.
Now when I'm converting, if you are doing it at 100, I'm doing it at 50.
Okay.
I took a risk. You're getting same. Now that's the purpose of APC. Now you can have because APC it's low market, low market CAC. You can just when you are here, let's say you have maybe a software, an ERP.
Yeah.
Talk to some few guys here at the co-working space. Test it out. Your interests. Now you know you've spent considerably less on CAC, and you have at least a working model to show people there is this I've done, this I've purchased, this I've committed, these are APC. Now that's very, very, very valuable information. But you cannot tell an investor, I have an idea.
It has to be some MVP or...
Yeah, it has to. Because you as the investor...
Or a prototype or...
Yeah, it has to be a prototype. But now, since it's the Kenyan market, funding, also getting funding, it's becoming tougher and tougher because of the failing companies. They say you have to have revenue. They increase the bar you're getting. Now, you have revenue, you have the prototype. You want to develop the MVP clearly, perfectly, and also convert the MVP to the full-on product. Also, you want to use part of that money to launch the stuff you're getting.
This means hiring.
Exactly, hiring.
Acquiring customers.
Marketing, ad revenue,
office
space.
An accountant, you hire one.
Yeah, you hire one. You get a good financial guy up.
You are using Futsubishi, now you want to get yourself a Range Rover.
Also a Range Rover, you're getting. Now, Sasa, the problem, even with my experience in funding, funding is not the issue. The issue is 10xing the return.
That's where most people fail.
It's not easy. People come off with the market will purchase, the market will. Kwani, how long have you been doing this? It's only like 3 month sales. That's not reliable. For reliable standard deviation, you have to have standard deviation comes to play when you're doing the sales forecast using background from the patterns, 3 month sales. And then now when you are Q3, Q4, you ask yourself, by how much have I deviated from the mean? Now that's where standard deviation comes into play. If you said you're expecting 10 million by Q4, by what percentage have you achieved that?
Okay.
Now if it's like lower, you adjust your expectations. Now when you see like the market does not respond to your
adjustments.
Exactly.
So what are these trade-offs that you expect when you are negotiating a higher valuation?
For trade-offs, obviously, you'll have to negotiate connections. Because I prefer investors with connections than an investor who will give me money and then goes there and then aniambie multiply my income. You're getting?
Yes.
Kuna the financial and the non-financial trade-off. Unaona. Obviously, you'll have to give up equity. You'll have to give up a portion of control. You'll have to give up maybe a lot of your work-life balance.
Yeah.
Because remember, this money comes in for it to become double.
Yes.
Not for your Range Rover.
And it will not just work itself. You have to put in some work. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, sasa, it comes in, maybe it also will require skills. You'll require strategists. You'll require someone who is very, very, very good at exploring different markets. Service dev. You're getting? All this ni cost. You're getting?
Yeah.
Kuna now sasa the non-financial. The non-financial ni your work-life balance. Kuna what else?
What about where the negotiation take longer?
Time.
Yeah.
Sasa hiyo ni time. Also, time is a resource.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unaona. The shortest that you can get funded by a VC, it's 3 months.
Because they have to do the due diligence, filing.
Yeah, filing.
Yeah.
Because the biggest issue inakuaga not even the DD, market research. Is your company actually making money?
Ama you have cooked the figures.
Exactly. Unaona. Because I'm giving you my money, my hard-earned money.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah.
You know, I can't risk some things with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are solid, we are friends, we are best friends.
Yeah.
But I've given you money.
Yes.
You've done the marketing.
Yes.
Has the company actually made money? Will the company actually make money?
Yes.
Will the company actually will product market fit?
Yes.
Because hapo ndio VC anakuaga roughly reluctant. Hii pesa anapeana si yangu pia. Nimeraise. Investor anataka certain percentage IRR. IRR ni internal rate of return.
Okay.
Internal hiyo ni kama how much percentage are you giving on top of the percentage that kama you've done you've gotten, let's say 10%. Let me start from the top. Tusipoteze watu.
Okay.
When you're doing a funding round in VC, venture capital, venture capital, there are two peoples.
Okay.
There are general partner, limited partner. Limited partner ni the investor, the one who brings the money, but they don't have day-to-day
Running
control.
of the business.
They do not
Yes.
interfere with day-to-day.
Yes.
General partner raises from LP.
Okay.
LP akikam kwa scene,
Who is LP?
limited partner.
Okay.
Let's start. Let's start.
Minimize the abbreviation because in raising, that's how you get confused by the investor. Before you know it, 90% of the company is gone.
There are two people.
Yes.
There is limited partner, general partner.
Yes.
In venture capital.
Yes.
Now background there VC.
Yeah.
Kwa limited partner,
Yes.
he's the guy with the money.
Yes.
General partner, he's the guy with the deal flow.
Okay.
He's the guy who knows where you will take your money. Kama sasa example ya limited partner inakuaga wealthy sovereign funds. Kama a sovereign fund ni
Like Norway, Dubai.
family.
Okay.
So Norway is the country.
Okay.
There is the royal family in Norway. Same ya Denmark.
Okay.
They have a lot of money.
Okay.
What do they do with it? They get in contact with now general partners. say I have ABCD companies. If you can invest in them, I can guarantee this percentage.
Okay.
Now the limited partner gets interested. Now limited partner can be family offices. Family offices ni like unye his family.
Okay.
Wako na
The Kenyatta family.
The Kenyatta can be can be a limited partner.
Okay.
Now family offices. You can raise from established investors. Investors, accredited investors. Accredited investors ni the accreditation inapewa kwa investors past $200,000 mark by NEC, your New York Stock Exchange. Sasa they give you the accredited investor accreditation once after you've subtracted the money generating assets, you're still left with 200K.
Yes.
After liabilities, everything. Where kusota yako ni
$200,000.
$200,000, 20 million.
So today, if you have like a million and decide to invest 800,000, you can be accredited as an investor.
Yeah, so you've invested, sindo?
Yeah.
But
I still have 200. I've invested 800,000.
Yeah, 800,000. Yeah. After assets.
Yes.
To our living expenses.
Okay, now I can invest
costs.
500.
Yeah. If you can comfortably invest 500, remain with 500.
You're good.
You're good. Okay. Now you'll be able
then
to
there is a revolving fund to make sure that anytime
that
there's 200,000.
Okay. Yeah, that must be there.
Okay.
He see savings.
Yeah.
He need disposable income umebakisha.
Okay.
He need like fair umebakisha 5 million, 10 million mahali. You're getting kitu kama hiyo sasa. Now for EO accredited investors, they get risky investments. Risky investments higher return.
Yes.
That's why people go after the accreditation.
Yes.
Now sasa they can talk to now like kama you've heard of Jimmy Wanjigi saying the sovereign wealth loan. I'm a bond. Sovereign wealth bond. That is a family that's the UK royal family loaning the Kenyan government. Now once you hear the sovereign wealth, there is a sovereign, a mahali, a conglomeration of people giving out money in a different manner.
Okay.
Now sasa kuna the family, kuna established investors as LP. LP ni limited partners. Kuna now sasa people who are like who have it and don't know where to. Also limited partners can be corporate. Let's say Equity. Equity have a ton of cash lying around.
Yeah.
Inflation comes. Inflation hits them higher than investing.
When they've invested, yeah.
Unaona? Sasa now mostly inakuaga corporate venture.
Okay.
Nito hivyo. Corporate venture backed capital. Nito CVBC.
Okay.
Now like a company like Equity gives you as the general partner this amount to develop the company and sell back to it.
Okay.
Because Equity cannot like start a company. They are too busy for that.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And that's not their main business.
That's not their main. Yeah. Like the way they're doing, they're high on diversification. They're in health. You're getting, they want to go into agriculture, but they don't have a sustainable business model that can be absorbed by the core business.
Yeah.
That's why they're still angling areas of collaboration with different, now general partners are different entrepreneurs to develop the company for them. After the company is developed, now they can now absorb it like entirely as their own. Now that's corporate venture-backed capital.
Okay.
Now sasa, and then kwa general partner has deal flow. Deal flow ni you have good deals. You have good companies. You have good innovative companies that can 10x the return. Now that's the general partner. General partner is responsible for day-to-day fund management, offices, utilities, normal expenditure, payroll, ndo anamanage hiyo. Unaona? But now there is now the model 2 and 20. 2% out of the entire pool goes directly to management.
Okay.
now to pay salary, ABCD, all expenses. And then 20% as carry. There's something called carry. If you agree with now the limited partner, if you have, let's say, I give you 30 million USD to invest in 10 companies.
Yes.
And then I'm expecting back roughly 35.
Yeah.
Now you pass $35 million mark. That you will return 50.
Okay.
Now you're like, so we talked 35. Hii yote ya junior yangu. And then the investors are like, no. The limited partner is like, no. Umetoa hiyo pesa kwa nani?
Okay.
Sasa kuna akoka dispute. Now to solve it is now where carry comes in.
What is carry?
Carry ni hiyo pesa ya juu.
Okay.
Unaona? You are targeting, you give me a target of 35.
Yes.
I returned 50.
Yeah. So
If 50,
that's what is known as carry.
Carry. That's carry. Hiyo pesa ya juu.
So how is it divided legally or
20%.
without dispute?
Now legally it's 20%. Now the general partner
remains with
20% of all amounts above
the agreed
amount.
Okay.
Sasa now ama the agreed
plus
percentage.
the 2% of the
2% that equal 2% hiyo ni hiyo ndio ya kusustain fund.
So let me ask then, because now we have gotten there. So if I have 30 million and I'm taking 2%, and sometimes it takes longer to invest this 30 million.
Yeah.
What happens then? Do I need to return even the 2%? What is the guideline there?
Pools have a natural death. I am giving you 30 million for 5 years.
So after that years, even if I'm not invested, that money disappears.
It disappears.
Or what does natural
I'm
death
expecting 35 after 5 years.
If you invested or not, that's your problem.
That's you. What do you agree?
I see.
Pools
so that's why some investors or VCs are quite aggressive sometimes to invest.
Wanapeana pesa kupeana. Sasa now the death is occurring.
And that's why now the strategy of acquisition, hostile takeover.
Yeah, because they need to get the percentage.
Okay. And the returns.
They need to
so even for them,
returns.
It's a survival tactic.
Everyone is surviving in finance.
Okay.
Everyone.
Including the banks.
Out of the banks. Even government. Look at our government. The financial part of the government.
Left, right, and center.
Like, I cannot even explain how wrong is that. Because once you have an unpredictable business economy,
you're in a mess.
Sasa now,
actually, we'll talk about government investment, because sometimes, as you said, it's not mostly that government give other governments money. Sometimes it's sovereign money.
Yeah, individuals,
companies,
high net worth, in wanaitwa UNHW.
Yeah, pension funds and all these things. So I think that's something else people might want to understand, because if you're in an environment where there is bad investment as a country, even thriving as an entrepreneur is quite difficult.
Yeah, like now it will be now pronounced.
Yes.
The difficulty inaongezeka.
Yes. Now, let me ask this. So, what are the common... okay, we talked about that. But with this pool, how should the founder allocate the option pool among key team members like the CEO, COO, executive team?
Now that's difficult. I cannot. Let me say. For that, that you'll have to agree.
Okay.
Maybe what I can do best, because that's a topic I don't discuss with my portfolio companies. I usually feel like it's overstepping. Because now, you came out of nowhere to tell us how we'll divide our cash.
No, I mean, but there should be like a framework.
Yeah, there's the framework.
Just not to give everything. Because I've seen people, you trust someone, maybe they come and run a company, you give them a certain percentage. Afterwards, now it's like they own it and they are no longer with the company, or priorities changed, or you did not agree at some point. This happens.
Yeah, things happen. But mostly what I do is I give a framework. I don't give a definite answer.
Yeah.
For that, what I usually say is mostly let's get down to who is doing what. who has the most responsibilities? Realistically, who has the most responsibilities?
Yeah.
Nani akienda kwa ofisi, nani anafanya kazi mingi kuliko mwingine? Nani anafanya kazi kidogo mingi? Nani anafanya kazi kidogo?
So if someone is putting in more work, should get more equity.
If you don't give them more equity,
They will be demotivated.
they'll be demotivated.
But also, does it mean also work? Does it have to be day to day, or sometimes someone can bring the networks, bring the connection? That's also considered as high value.
Yeah, that's considered as high value. Yeah, that's a good thing. But now, how will you quantify that?
I mean, you should maybe set a target.
Yeah, if you work with targets now that this one is doing a lot of reasonably when you're at the early age of startups, everyone is doing everything. Ati sijui when you're marketing, ati una focus na marketing peke yake. Kuna time utaingia admin, have people paid, you start calling people. Your payment is overdue, there's a late fee. You're getting.
Yeah.
The CEO is not there. The meeting stop?
No.
You're getting. At some point,
Everyone is doing everything.
Everyone is doing everything.
Yeah.
But realistically, there are one person, two people who have the entire thing. That's the thing with startups.
Yeah.
One person can have the entire company. Akitoka,
you crumble.
Literally within days.
Yeah.
That's also why a lot of investors want founder market fit. Not everyone is depending on one person. That's an issue.
Under the bus analogy.
Exactly.
So when you're considering some of these factors for allocation, we have said one of the most important things is the responsibility, the role one is playing.
Yeah.
Motivation should be considered so that those who are putting in more do not feel like, we are putting in more but we're getting less for it.
Kwanza ikifika hapo,
Yeah.
if a member of the founding team states that explicitly, he is ready, maybe anaelekea kulive, huyu amechoka na wewe, juu ameona, it's not fair. For me, I'm not getting any value. What happens when you don't get value? Realistically, you just look for where you'll get value.
Yes.
Normal human nature.
Yeah.
Sasa, what I usually advise is have more of a dynamic split.
Yes.
A split that will change over time.
Yes.
You might have the idea, but you don't know how to execute.
Yes. Which is very, very important.
You have nothing without execution.
True.
Now the person who's doing the execution obviously will want more.
Okay.
But the idea is yours.
Okay.
Give them more now. It will change later. It's always remember these things are negotiations. They're not fixed. I want more.
Can you negotiate down someone once you already give them,
Technically you can.
Will not that look like you are, blackmailing them, screwing them?
See, it's finance.
Yeah. What does that mean? You play with numbers.
Play with numbers. Everything is an exchange. You have control.
So you mean this game, someone has to...
Welcome to corporate. That's how...
Oh, that's corporate 101.
Corporate 101. Okay. Everything is a transaction.
Okay.
You have equity. You don't have dividends. Now you have control. I have money. Now we'll have to talk.
Okay.
You will give me more money. I'll give you more equity. More control.
Okay. So it is always good for the investor and the receiver of the investment to be able to negotiate better deals at all time.
Let's say when the deal is nearing its death, you need to, let me how do I put it? You need to now start speaking real. Sawa, you've invested, interested. What exactly are you speaking?
Yeah.
Are you speaking, what are your expectations? Because you might make a very, very, very good pitch. Perfect. The investor comes in, you will, wewe ndio kusema. Ukisimama kwa market, everyone will run to your company. You're just a good talker. You're not a good executioner. The investor expects 10x return.
Anything else is just stories.
Ni story, because that's the vision you created.
Yeah.
Unaona?
Yeah.
So in some way, it's still your fault.
Yeah.
Now the investor comes, you don't even like a basic balance sheet.
But does this even affect internal wrangles within
It does.
employees, vested interests, option?
It does, because everyone always also expect these are companies.
Yeah.
Everyone has interest.
Okay.
No, even they will not say it now.
The earlier you realize that, the better.
The better.
Okay. Anyway, you talked about cap table and option pool. So, what are some best practices founders manage their cap table and option?
Track it regularly for cap table. For option pools, you need to have a solid contract.
Okay.
And also solid valuation. Do not give people trash equity because you know it's trash and you know where the sweet
spots are.
People will know. Not now, not later. Let's say 10 years down the line, they will know. Unless now you start firing people because of the mistakes you did. But for cap table, be very, very, very conscious of the cap table. Be very, very, very. It will mess you.
And how do you make sure that it doesn't mess you?
Bargain early. With people, it's better to have a larger option pool with less dead investors than a small investment pool.
Yeah.
With more dead investors. For you to manage the cap table, if someone is coming in, what do they bring other than finances?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah.
For someone to convert as a dead investor is someone who had only money, nothing else. You have a dead investor. That's why a lot of angels are usually dead investors. Most, not all. If you've raised from an angel who was an entrepreneur, mwenye akaomoka, you have a very, 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 very good investor.
Yeah.
Huyo atakusaidia. Same, investors are people. You might get an investor who is starting out. Ako paranoid of everything.
Including?
Expenditure. Where sasa now to make it worse, you are not in the same field. Uko kwa event space.
Yes.
The event is about startups.
Yes.
The startup is about events.
Yeah.
Ametoka kwa marketing. Ametoka kwa medtech. Ama something which has corporate. Ametoka corporate. People who are from corporate know budgets even before budgets are requested. Unaona, wanakuwa very, very planned. And then wananiambia at the event at security wamepotea. We need to hire some a new security. There is a lot of inconsistencies when you're doing events than when you're working in corporate. Sasa nasikia hizi inconsistencies zote naona
this guy is stealing from me.
This guy is stealing from me bana.
How come?
Well,
you pay these guys down payment.
Well, they accepted.
What happened?
Yeah. You don't have time to explain. Because events, people will come to see what. Unaona? People have paid tickets to see maybe a celeb or maybe someone. The celeb is not there. You need to have a
backup plan.
The investor wants an explanation, wants a meeting.
Me, I wanted Davido, now I'm getting Calligraph Jones. I wanted Calligraph Jones, now I'm getting these other guys called.
Huyu wa nini anaitwaje? Simple boy.
I wanted Simple Boy, now I'm getting the other lady, Kanjo lady. You know, so it's always and actually it happens a lot because also people get sick. People get offers that they can't refuse.
Things happen.
Yeah.
But now, investor ametoka corporate.
Yeah. They are so rigid.
Very, very planned and rigid. Haja experience events.
Yeah.
That's why I usually insist.
Yeah.
Raise from people who are in the same industry as you.
Or close to that industry.
Or close to that. Yeah. Hata kama ni indirect relation. Raise from people who are in this almost same industry. Wanaelewa. Wanajua. When you have a problem, you're in medtech. You have a founder, you have an investor from tech. Sana kusaidiaje. Most viable option ni if the tech aspect of the company fails. You have a very, very good option. What happens when the medicine aspect crumbles? What happens? Atakusaidiaje. That's an issue.
Yeah.
Unaona?
Yeah.
Now when you're speaking to investors, always try. It's not easy also, but always try to get someone who is in the same space as you. It will be easier for you in the long run. Because remember, they are investing time horizon ni 2-3 years. You're locked in with some guys for 2-3 years. Imagine you've met an investor who is anaitwaje, the guys who talk a lot when anxiety attacks. Now imagine being shouted at every day at 7 to 7:30 because of someone's mistake for 2 straight years. We'll start asking, kwani company lazima? Unaona, now the mental health aspect comes into
Kicks in, yeah.
Now, like, let's say, that's why I insist. If you cannot make a good deal with a bad person, simply, you will fake the pattern,
the relationship.
Yeah, you'll fake.
But eventually you give in. Yeah.
Kwanza, I have founders, a lot of founders who fake relationships for the money.
Yeah, yeah.
But now they are like, we need to boot out this investor.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, now it will be costly because you'll have to buy him out. You have someone
it's very expensive. Yeah,
you have someone who is liquid enough to buy him out like Vivo.
So what is your take about, because also when you raise funds and you hire people, some of them you give them some option, and then you raise maybe Series B, right?
Yeah.
There are people who you hire, they don't know how the process has been, but they're quite talented, they're quite motivated, they buy in the mission and vision of the company, and they think now you have raised Series B, maybe 100 million. So they expect to cash in, right? How do you educate these people to really either persevere more or put in more work and ensure that you build the value of the company as you build the value of the investor and not feel like they're working for the investor?
Yeah. So there is a rule in corporate finance, also corporate management. Maximize shareholder value. This is not your money. Come in, we maximize the shareholder value, maximum shareholder value. Once we've done that, the rest is ours. The shareholders will take roughly 60, 70, they don't care. Because the people they are talking with, like, they have float and they have budget expectations. There is a portion you might pass, they are comfortable. You're getting, not always also. Don't take it as it's in entirety. You might get investors who are greedy. You make 100 million, they want 100 million.
One off for every year?
Nah, not one off. So unajua kutoa tu ile tu that good year. You've made good returns.
This is dividends or?
Now the payouts depends. You can pay out using dividends. Shareholder withdrawal.
And that means you take back your shares.
Now you take back now sasa you are allocating yourself income.
Okay.
You're getting shares remain the same. If it's
but everyone
million,
is given according to how much they own.
Yeah, there is this cake. Now you own 20% of this cake.
So if you make another cake from that cake, you should expect 20%.
Exactly.
of what you make.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now the cake.
So what if I want to eat the...
Yeah.
So your cake still exists.
Yeah.
If I made a new cake,
Yeah.
it did not exist. But this cake, I feel like I should eat it alone.
Always.
Not as a shareholder,
Yeah.
but no, I'm not as an investor, but as a...
The founder.
Yeah.
Always.
It happens.
Yeah. Always kosa kisika hiyo. Always. Because now...
What results from that? Because someone will eventually know, the cake was eaten. Someone decided to eat this cake.
Mostly what I do is I start bringing in elements of transparency.
Mm-hmm.
Once everything in the light, people cave. People become more afraid. Now, I know what you want to do, but you've not said. But it's common. You can know a thief by the actions. Not. And I make very, very, very long announcements. Very, very, a lot of technical jargon. Covering up a loss. Sasa, hii loss kwani ni 100%.
Repeat what you have just said. You make what?
There are ways. I won't lie.
You discover there is something going wrong here.
Yeah, there are ways. There are people who want to do it. Because there are people who allege. Also, there are some interested parties at Twiga who wanted the cake alone. It's okay.
But it's alleged.
Alleged. Yeah. I use the word alleged.
Let me give a disclaimer at this point.
Alleged.
All the views...
It's only allegations. I know nothing about it. Now...
From the guests... not...
Are personal.
They are personal.
Those are my personal views. And opinions.
Yes.
Nothing more.
Yes. They are not coming direct from this podcast.
Yeah.
Or it hosts.
Yeah. Sasa, what was I saying?
No, you're saying that transparency should be encouraged.
Now when you start doing isoma issues that transparency, you start reminding the founder, it's not transparent. You need to notify the entire board.
Yes.
Unaona, ameanza kushift. And then, ni sawa na cover up loss. You need to cover up your losses. You need to, ni sawa, you've covered, how will you regain that loss? And then the founder is not thinking that. He's thinking, how will I cover this loss? Anaanza kukwambia very, very, very long statements with very, very, very a lot of technical jargon. Kwani loss ilikuwa 100%? Loss is 100%. You will lose, but how will you lose 100 million?
Yeah.
Entire. When will it be? What happened? Sasa now you will cause a lot of interest. How will you lose all that money? Unaona, how? Because sasa hapo audits, tax, wanaitwaje, shareholder. What now they will come at you? Because now that's the mistake they usually do.
Okay.
If you want to eat the cake alone, eat a small bunch, leave the rest for the others.
No one goes angry.
If someone goes angry, one person goes angry, they can disrupt the entire... there's this case for Bernie Madoff. Bernie Madoff was considered a very, 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 very shrewd investor. Now, Bernie Madoff, what he did, it's called more of a Ponzi scheme. You come as an investor, you give me $2,000. I tell you I am investing. I fabricate the market. I'm a math guy. I can lie with statistics. Literally in your face. And it will be evident. No. You know I'm lying, but the facts add up. No. Mathematicians build facts. You know how to skew them in your favor. You're getting. Now, Sasa, he did that, had a very, very solid quantitative analyst. He had a very, very solid quantity. Fabricated everything, ABCD, yeah. Now, he went to the public market and started picking investors at $10, $20. Remember, he has $2,000. $10, $20. Maturity $2,000 iko at the end of the year. Maturity $10, $20 iko kwa between the month. You give me $10, At the end of the month, I give you the $10 interest, not to acquire $2,000. Repeat. And then, let's say a financial bubble happens. Say I've lost 50%. So I tell you, now from your $10, I have 5. Now, see, it's factually backed. Now that's a loss.
Yeah.
But you still have something you're getting.
It's not like you lost that money.
Yeah. It's not hakuna pesa yote umepoteza.
Yeah.
Pesa sasa mwisho wa mwaka imefika. Your loss inaenda kwa
the main guy.
The one who's running the
so they only get $1,000. Yo, thugs.
Welcome to finance. Everything is a transaction.
Yeah.
Everything is a transaction.
Yeah. So, as we conclude this segment, any recommendation, reading books,
for
around investment?
For funding, there is no one good book at funding.
Yeah.
But
are there like 10 of them?
For finding what I'd recommend is go into Corporate Finance Institute. They have a channel. They do
that is online?
Yeah, on YouTube.
Okay.
Listen to these types of podcasts. Listen to financial podcasts. Because the issue with founders is they know the product aspect, but they don't know how to make money from the product. That's the issue. Listen to what we are talking about. Listen to even if you hate math, you hate finance, but to some point, to some degree, you'll have to do it.
Yes.
Because how will you make money from it? That's the issue.
Yeah.
Go to Corporate Finance Institute. They have the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Go to LBO model tutorial. Go to Patrick Boyle YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Krasimir Petrov YouTube channel. They will teach you a lot in a year than a 10-year program will.
Yeah.
Because you have the material you're looking on the go. Just get into the lesson of your choice. This is where I am. I'm at valuation. Watch that valuation, only that one video. Tomorrow, at least you have something to argue. Look at Aswath Damodath. Yeah, Aswath Damodath. Yeah. YouTube, still on YouTube. He will teach you everything on corporate finance, corporate management. Everything, like literally everything. He's a shrewd investor. He will give you experiences of what to expect in the market.
Yeah.
You're getting. Now, like, at least do this 1 hour a day. You will be good.
Okay. So you're saying from the University of YouTube, there exists more content. No any paperback, no any Kindle, no any.
No, more relevant content.
Okay.
That you need
more
as a founder. As a founder. Because for the books, the books, there are a lot. Maybe look them up. I don't remember.
Yeah, no problem. Once we meet again, we can always recommend a few books. And there are people actually who video maybe is not their thing. Right? Unless they watch Impact Masters podcast or Return podcasts. And so on and so forth. So next time we meet, we'll go deeper into different aspects and how to avoid pitfalls, team dynamics, greediness on both ends of an investor, founders, and all that. We also like to talk about, shrewd investment.
People who have
should you build a house in Ushago? Should you put money in the stock exchange? What is this Ulabalu with the Forex exchange and people are buying cars like they're in wash business? Those kind of things. Is it really, if you invest in Forex, you'll make money? All those kind of things. Because also I've realized majority, especially even Black Americans, Hispanic, Kenyans, Africans, when they get money, the investment they make sometimes is not really wise, to be honest. and it's quite of high risk. Also, we don't want to invest in ourselves. We want to buy shiny stuff. We want to, live large. It's a good thing and it's a bad thing because we end up not creating generational wealth and so on. So there's a discussion that we can have around that.
But wealth. It's called wealth creation.
Exactly.
Yeah, we can always have conversations.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Titus. Ndeto. Are you related to the Ndeto?
Nah, I'm not.
No?
I'm not.
No?
Actually, I prefer Ndeto Ndongo.
Ndeto Ndongo.
Yeah, I'm an academic. I rarely use my English name.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, Ndeto Ndongo.
Yeah, Ndeto Ndongo.
Ndeto Ndongo.
I'm not related to the Ndeto.
Not related. You know the Ndeto I'm talking about?
Yeah. I'm not.
Are you sure? Before we sit down, I always also do my due diligence.
Sasa hiyo ni pande ya mama tuambie.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you so much, Ndeto Ndongo. And it was really quite a good, insightful conversation. And here at Impact Masters and Retort Podcast, you always like such conversation, telling our own story, impacting Africa, trying to share the knowledge, and ensuring that you're moving in the right direction. Until next time, maybe you should tell guys, please subscribe to the channel, follow. There's a camera over there. Our director, content engineer is directing me.
Yeah.
Feel free.
Guys, what we'll be talking on for the next series of this chapter, we'll be doing a lot of finance, a lot of valuation, a lot of funding, where to get this funding, where to get guys like me to back you, on where to get also guys like AT to conduct your solution. Also for you to get ahead of your game on anything to do with finance, anything to do with valuation, anything to do with shrewd investments, have a listen. So drop that like, drop that follow, share content. It'll help us a lot, then it'll help you. Thanks.
Nice. That's quite interesting. And that has been Ndeto Ndongo. Yeah.
And that's a wrap on today's episode of Impact Masters. Thank you for tuning in and sharing this space of growth and empowerment with us. Remember, every step you take has the potential to create an impact. Keep exploring, keep questioning, keep implementing, and most importantly, keep mastering your impact. Remember to check us out on all platforms by searching for Impact Masters. Subscribe, follow, and share. www.impactmasters.io. See you in the next one.